a very new member for her icebreaker speech. Carol, thank you.
Thank you. I was born in London, Ontario, Canada. I don't know if any of you know where that is. It's actually halfway between Toronto and Windsor, Detroit. So it's about 150 miles each side of those. And it's in the furthest south point in the U.S. And when I was very little, I thought about what I wanted to be when I grew up. Well, I hadn't given it a whole lot of thought, but you know, my mother made suggestions, my father made suggestions. Then one day, I had this epiphany. I was about 11 years old, and I was walking across the street on the Green Line in the crosswalk, and I heard an airplane overhead. It was very low. It was a small airplane. So I stopped and looked up and kept looking and looking, and then the airplane honked. And I said, my God, airplanes can honk? Well, you can probably figure out the rest. It was the man in the car trying to get me to move. I was just in such awe of this airplane flying so low. So that was sort of my idea about my career in the sky as a stewardess for American Airlines for many years. So what I did was fast forward many years, and I was looking at Glamour magazine, and lo and behold, there was an ad for stewardesses. So using the word stewardess, you know that this was some time ago, because now we're flight attendants. And I thought, wow, that would be fabulous. Imagine that. So I thought, well, maybe they wouldn't hire anybody from Canada. So I thought, well, I'll just send in this little form anyway. And sure enough, I got a letter back saying, please come for an interview in Toronto. Wow, this is really great. I have a friend who at the time was living in Toronto. I stayed with her. We went out the night before partying. I think it was to get rid of my nervousness about this interview, because I thought I'd walk in and there would be all these absolutely gorgeous women sitting around, and I kind of walk in like this. Anyway, the next morning, I wasn't getting out of bed with the alarm. My friend came in and she said, Carol, you have to get up and have this interview. And I said, no, I don't want to go. I just don't want to go. She said, yes, you do. She basically dragged me out of bed. So we went downtown on the subway. We got there to this office building. This was Saturday, so there weren't many people in the building. We go up to whatever floor it was on. Nobody's around. But there were some lights on, so we sat there. Thankfully she was with me. I think that I would have been a little nervous had she not been with me. And all of a sudden this lady walked out. She left. She was about my age. And then this man came out and he called me in for the interview. And asked me lots of questions. You know, why did I want to be a stewardess? You know, because I love people and I want to travel. That was our joke among the flight attendants. You know, I took this job because I love people and I want to travel. So we had the interview, and I could tell that he was probably going to say yes. Then he said to me, and this will tell you roughly the time that it was, he said, now would you put on this hat, and it was the overseas cap, and I don't know if many of you remember that, and he said, and just walk across to the other side of the room. Of course, I didn't think anything of it, you know, it was a different era then. So I did. I came back and said, okay, and he got some references. I can't also where I was with at the time, etc., etc. So about 3 months later, he was born. I got a letter from them saying that they had accepted me and I needed to get a visa. So I went about the process of that, which took several months actually. I think that was December until March. I left in March to go to training in Dallas, Fort Worth. So it was Easter weekend, and I left London and took a bus to Detroit by myself. Very tearful. I was leaving my family for the first bus station. I thought, how am I going to get to the airport? So these cabs were sitting there, and you know how cab drivers are. They always, oh, come on, I'll take you out there for XYZ dollars. So I don't remember the amount now, but I agreed to it. So we're driving out to the airport, we're on the freeway. And, you know, oftentimes the hangars for each airlines will be before you reach the actual airport terminal. So I see this big building, and it says American Airlines. And he keeps looking. Oh my God, he's kidnapping me, or something awful is happening because he's not going to the American Airlines building. So I said, oh, wasn't that American Airlines over there? And he said, that's the hangar. You know, sort of like that. So anyway, I arrived in Dallas after waiting around in Chicago for some time. And the training was very intense because basically stewardesses / flight attendants are hired not to feed and give you drinks, as you well know if you travel nowadays, but rather just to save you in an emergency. And these emergency drills are drilled into us. And I just want to finish here because he's giving me the red light. What I wanted to finish with was, you know, most people use mentors or research or some other way of coming up with a career. All I had to do was walk across the street.